What is up, Jamily? This is JamiroFan 2000 here with yet another home edition of JamiroFan Talks About. This, of course, is my discussionary series where I take a look at the past, present, and future of JamiroQuai, and they're now going on 28 years of music making. And like I did last episode, I'm kind of getting out of the threshold of JamiroQuai to give you a bit of an update on how how I've been riding the pandemic and how the world has been doing riding the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the pandemic here in the United States is pretty much about 2 months old now, and I thought I'd just do an episode of JamiroFan Talks About, for those people that are homebound in self-implicated quarantines or who are losing hours at work because of everybody being pretty much at home, trying to lessen the chances of the transmission of this pandemic any further around the world. I thought I'd do a series of JamiroFan Talks About to talk about how things are for me right now during this pandemic. Now, you might remember last week my episode of JamiroFan Talks About giving basically my thoughts on how the pandemic is right now, but it looks like things are kind of slowly starting to return to a little bit of normalcy. But yeah, here in the United States, our economy is taking a very big hit, and I'm talking about a multi-trillion-dollar hit, with all these businesses closing, operating shorter hours, cutting workforce in response to trying to do their part and not spread this vicious pandemic any further throughout the United States. But for right now, according to the medical community and the mainstream media, or at least the good parts of the media that don't have a pre-existing bias, this virus has kind of gone through the whole part of the North American continent right now, and it's currently on its way south, which means it's going to be hitting Latin America and South America very, very soon. But that is good that the transmission rates appear to be stabilizing right now, not getting any higher, but some parts of the country here, especially here in the United States, are seeing an uptick in new cases of this pandemic, mostly due to urban populations and larger populations of people being in one small contained area. It seems like this pandemic is flaming up a lot at least here on the East Coast in New York, and especially in the state of California. The U.S. government has responded to this by passing a massive multi-trillion-dollar economic stimulus for everybody here in the United States. In layman's terms, it's basically to help Americans who have been financially impacted by this pandemic to be able to make their ends meet or have a little bit of money. The economic stimulus is mostly going to be a bit of a lease program, a little bit of a lending program, especially to help out a lot of the hard-hit businesses, most specifically in the corporate industry and, of course, in the small business industry, basically extending lots of loans and expanding a massive new federal loan program so these businesses can stay a little bit economically solvent and afloat when they want to come and take in some new loans. And also, there's been expansion of leave of business money, and of course the big part of this new economic stimulus is that all Americans are going to be getting $1,400 by the month of April in a one lump sum payment to every single tax filer. And of course, for couples, there's going to be $2,400, and for families that have more than one child, every child will be an additional $600. So you can see why this economic stimulus is such a big business. This is the biggest spending bill in U.S. history, but to deal with a pandemic of this size and this magnitude that has been catastrophic to a lot of businesses out there all around the world and to people's livelihoods, this had to be done. And I know I'm a person that prides themselves on wanting governments to be fiscally responsible, especially with their spending. But I don't like going into a political vein with my discussions here on JamiroFan Talks About. But for the people who didn't know here in the United States, I just want to give you the lamest terms of what have been passed, and that the U.S. government has been responding to this as much as all the world's economies and their governments have been responding to this accordingly in their own time. But hopefully things will be stabilizing over the next few months, at least in the transmission of this disease. But they did say that this pandemic will start tapering down around August to September of 2020, at least according to recent published reports that I've seen. But we are kind of not out of the woods on this, but everybody keep doing your social distancing, keep 6 feet apart of each other, be sure to wash your hands if you touch any type of surfaces, any type of non-porous surfaces, and be sure to keep your hands off your face. But for the people that have to go out at your own discretion, but I highly suggest that you go, have plenty of hand sanitizer, be sure to wash your hands if you touch anything other than your own person and stay safe, because we are not out of the woods on this. So I hope you enjoy this video JamiroFan Talks About. I will hopefully have this series back on the JamiroQuai vein very, very soon, and I'll hopefully be out of this bedroom of mine and out recording more content back at my usual places. But as always, this is JamiroFan 2000. I hope you enjoyed this episode of JamiroFan Talks About. Be sure to like and subscribe and ding the little bell on your YouTube to stay up to date on all the latest new content on the JamiroFan 2000 YouTube channel. And be sure to stop by the JamiroQuai subreddit for all the latest new JamiroQuai related and JamiroQuai centric information and stuff that I find and everybody else is contributing in their own time. But as always, this is JamiroFan 2000. I'll see you again really soon with another episode of JamiroFan Talks About and many more JamiroQuai related videos here on the JamiroFan 2000 YouTube channel. Bye bye everybody and stay safe.